Hi guys, Kelly here, and I wanted to bring to you another one of my recent reads. So I have 4 books that I've read since my last recent reads video that I would like to review for you. And I'm going to just go in order from the one I like the least to the one I like the best, but none of these I have like really negative feelings towards, so even though this is my least favorite, it was still a really enjoyable read. And this first one is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. And I actually listened to this one on audiobook, and the narrator was Aaron Spencer. And I think that it was a really good idea that I listened to this on audio because I thought that her voice worked really well and it made it really kind of addictive to listen to. I think if I was just reading it, I might have gotten bored and put it aside, but listening to it, I could just put it on, do some other things, and it just flowed really easily for me to just have in the background. And hard to put down. It was just one of those that I was just enjoying listening to the audiobook. And this is a retelling of A Christmas Carol. So our main character, Holly, at the beginning of the book, we learn that she is picked as a Scrooge. So there's a company that kind of basically does the same thing that happened in The Christmas Carol with the original Scrooge, but they pick a new person to be the Scrooge and they send them the 3 ghosts and have them kind of decide if they want to change their life to be better part of society, basically. And so Holly is our Scrooge at the very beginning, and she fails and she dies, because that's what happens when you're a failed Scrooge. You end up dying shortly after. And so instead of being sent to whatever afterlife she was originally supposed to, she's given the opportunity to become the new ghost of Christmas past. And so this book is following her time as being the ghost of Christmas past, and kind of her growth from there as being part of this Scrooge project. And so they pick out a new Scrooge, and we are seeing that whole experience of how they work with the Scrooge as her being the ghost of Christmas past. And like I said, this is just a fun, entertaining read. I gave it 3 stars because it was just average for me. I think I went into it thinking it might go a little darker, might have a little more twists and turns, and that was kind of what I was expecting for retelling. But it turned out to be pretty simple retelling, just with more teen characters and modern times. So it didn't have as much of surprising stuff as I had wanted to. But if you're looking for just a fun Christmas read, if I had gone into it thinking, oh, this is just going to be a light, fluffy Christmas read, I might have rated it a little higher. So just go into it feeling that way. That I would definitely read it at Christmas time, though, because I think it's one of those that you just get the Christmassy vibes from, and then if you read it other times of year, maybe it wouldn't have as much impact, because it is kind of a fluffy Christmas read. So I would recommend the audiobook, though, if you are somebody that likes to listen to audiobooks, because the narrator did a great job and just moved the plot along by having it be read to me. And then the next one I read was Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. And this is a sequel to Strange the Dreamer, and so I can't really go into a lot of details. And Strange the Dreamer is another one that's kind of hard to tell you what it's about, because Laini Taylor builds this world that she tells you things along the way, so it's hard not to spoil people. So just very basic, it is about this man, Laszlo Strange, and he has been obsessed with a city called Weep, and nobody in his city has heard from anybody in Weep for years, I think 200 years, and so it's become just kind of almost like a fairy tale, but he's researches and does everything and just has a connection to that city, he feels. And then one day he gets the opportunity to actually see the city, and that is what Strange the Dreamer is about. And this takes place directly after the first book, and so much kind of happens and is revealed in the first book that I can't really tell you anything about the plot of this one, or even about characters, because there's possibility of character deaths and stuff like that, because this is a fantasy, and there's not to say war, but a lot of fighting and things happening between different factions of people. So I don't want to give anything away. I did enjoy the experience of reading both books. Her writing is very lyrical, and sometimes that bothers me, but for this world, I think this was such a magical world that the writing worked, and so I enjoyed the whole experience. but I didn't necessarily love the way everything concluded. And obviously I can't talk about that without spoilers, so I gave this a 4-star, and everything that made me give it a 4-star all had to do with probably the last 100 pages, so I can't really tell you anything about it. If you did read this and want to know kind of exactly what my feelings were, you know, feel free to talk to me down in the comments. Just put like a spoiler warning, because I could talk about it. I just don't want to spoil anybody. But overall, I gave Strange Dreamer 4.5 stars and this one a 4 stars. So I did enjoy the reading experience and thought it was a nice, beautifully told story. And then the next one I read is My New Crush Gave to Me by Shani Petroff. And this is just a YA contemporary Christmas romance, basically. And I'll tell you, like, you're probably gonna make fun of me, but I gave this 5 stars. I don't know if most people would consider this a 5-star book, and I know it's nothing like groundbreaking. Like, it is basically a Hallmark movie with teenagers as the characters, but that's just my like Christmas candy, if I could use an analogy. Like, in December, all like I want to do is watch Hallmark movies. Like, I don't watch them most of the year, but in December I would watch Hallmark movies like every night if I had time. Like, it's just what I like at Christmas time. Like, some people like to watch It's a Wonderful Life or, you know, A Christmas Story, and that's kind of like their tradition. For me, it's like those cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies that you know are going to end well. You know they're not going to have a lot of like surprises. It's just going to be predictable and happy and Christmassy, and that is this in a book, but with teenagers. And it's all I wanted. I read this in one day. Like, I literally yesterday got this from the library at 8 p.m. and I had it done by 1:30. I put my kids to sleep and all I did was read this book, basically. Other than getting ready for bed, read this book. And I just adored it. Like, it was just Christmas fun. And if you are a little more critical reader, I'll just tell you a few of the things I liked, other than just saying it's like a Hallmark movie. The main character, basically the plot of this, I haven't even told you the plot because I'm just gushing about the fact that this is a Hallmark movie. But, you know, it's going to be a predictable plot. I'll just tell you that now. So this main character, Charlotte, she is kind of like one of those teenagers that's like, she's really worried about like getting into a good college, so she always has to have like her good grades and her extracurriculars, and she's just like on the straight and narrow and like has everything set for herself and planned out. And there's an upcoming like big Christmas party that like everybody in her grade goes to, and she really wants to have a date because her boyfriend that was the perfect boyfriend broke up with her. And so her and her best friend Morgan are spending the month of December trying to get her a date. And she has a boy in mind named Teo, who is kind of like Mr. Popular. You know, he's quarterback of the team, he's gorgeous, all that stuff. And so her goal, Charlie, is to get Teo to notice her and be her date to this party. And so it's very high schooly, but it is like, it's cute. And the way she's trying to like win Teo over is that she is his secret Santa in their kind of like newspaper group. And to figure out what she's going to give Teo to like make him like basically fall for her, she teams up with Teo's cousin named JD, who her and JD do not get along at all. JD is kind of like the procrastinator that kind of is just fluffy, you know, like, you know, scruffy and not her personality at all, like spontaneous. But she asked for his help in order to find Teo the perfect presents. And you know where it's going. It's totally hate to love and all that. Completely predictable from like page 1. But I just thought it was really cute. Like, I really liked JD. I really liked her interactions with him. Another thing that I liked was her relationship with her best friend. They go into a lot of their relationship, and I always like a good female friendship in a YA book, because sometimes, you know, female friendships are like portrayed as like the mean girl type of relationship, or girls betray each other or pick boys over them. But I thought that this was a good job of being like a good friendship, that they really support each other and help each other. And the other thing I liked about it, since it was taking place at Christmas time, her best friend is Jewish, and I like the way they combined both the Jewish traditions and the Christmas traditions. So as two friends, you know, she would go over and celebrate Hanukkah with her family, and Morgan would come and like celebrate Christmas with Charlie's family, and just combining those traditions I thought was really great. So there are some like critical good things about it, but generally you're only gonna like this if you like really cheesy Christmas romance. Like, that's it. And I do, so 5 stars. If I'd read this in July, maybe not a 5-star book, but reading it in December when I am in the middle of my Hallmark time, perfect. And then the last one is The Two Princesses of Bamarre by Gail, Carson, Levine. And this is a middle grade fantasy book. It kind of has that like, you know, princessy fairy tale kind of vibe. And this is about 2 sisters that are princesses, and one of them is the like brave sister who wants to go out and fight the like ogres and all the other monsters that come and attack the village or whatever kingdom every once in a while, and she's the one that like everybody expects to be the strong sister. And the other sister, Addie, she is more the timid, kind of afraid of everything, always kind of in her sister's shadow, and that's their relationship and dynamic. But they both really love each other and really love their kingdom. And in this time that the story is taking place, there is a disease that is kind of like appearing in their kingdom called the Gray Death. And from what I could tell, it's not like contagious. It's just like some people just like get it, and you don't know who's gonna get it. And it's one of those that like you start out getting weaker and weaker, and then like you're in kind of like a coma state for like 9 days, and then like a few days of fever, and then you die, and there is no cure. But there's a prophecy that says that one hero or somebody will find the cure. And so that's where we're at the beginning of the story. And basically, one of the sisters gets the Gray Death, and the other sister has to go and try to find the cure to save her sister and try to save the kingdom from this plague. I gave it 5 stars. I mean, it is definitely middle grade, so it's pretty predictable. But there were still some really good moments of not necessarily surprise, but just like action and things that were happening that you wouldn't necessarily know exactly what was going on or what was going to happen, and a little bit of suspense. And even though it was predictable, it was like really entertaining. Like, I think I read this in 2 days. I just had a really good time reading it. I love the sisters. I liked the characters. There was like a little romance. That was cute. Like, it was just a really excellent. So if you are somebody that likes a middle grade novel and likes just like a fun fantasy fairy tale type book, I would highly recommend it. I'm going to continue to read more of Gail Carson Levine because she has that style that I really love. I really enjoy those simple middle grade books. I don't read them like all the time, but like, you know, when you've read a bunch of adult books and you've read some intense stories, I like a story like this every once in a while that is predictable and yet has substance to it. So it's not like completely fluff read, like this one, completely fluff read, where this one does have substance. It is teaching you good morals and has good characters. Like, there is depth to both of these characters and character growth throughout the novel. And that's it. Those are my 4 for now. I probably won't do another recent reads until the new year, even though I won't be doing another recent reads probably for the next couple weeks. I will be having some videos talking about my favorite, least favorite, all my end of year wrap up videos, so keep an eye out for that. Those will start around Christmas time and go through the end of the year, and then probably in January I will pick up doing my recent reads again. I hope you guys are having a good day. Bye.